Hello and welcome to The Nation. I'm Elane Noor Abdullah. Now joining us today are Syed Mohammed Idid, Deputy Chairman of the Public Relations Practitioner Society of Malaysia, and Shamin Logan, Director of Content and Masterclass for the Global Public Relations Conference and Festival 2025. So today we'll be exploring how strategic communication continues to shape Malaysia's global image. And we'll also be highlighting the upcoming major international public relations conference taking place this week at the World Trade Center, Kuala Lumpur. Hello, welcome, Shamin.
Thank you.
Idid.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you guys in the studio and to talk about this very first inaugural sort of conference that you guys are putting together. Well done. It's happening soon. And Syed, I'll call you Syed. Yes. You're spearheading the Global Public Relations Conference for this festival in 2025. Could you share what inspired its creation and what it aims to achieve?
Okay, the inspiration came from our founder and chairman, Datuk Kamalanathan, when he formed the Public Relations Society, Practitioner Society of Malaysia, short form practitioners. He wanted to have a iconic landmark PR event that's just not for local, but also for foreign PR practitioners. Nice. And he decided, let's make it a 3-day festival. Wow. Where it's broken down into pillars of strategic comms, geopolitics, and even digital. So we're going to bring about 600 to 800 PR practitioners and also students in the PR field to join us on this 3-day affair. And why it's unique, a lot of PR conferences or forums are usually 1 day or 2 days, but we've got full 3 days. And I think Shamin would be wonderful to go in deep.
And we're seeing this on the screen right now, right? The host of speakers that you guys have lined up, it looks like a massive sort of undertaking that you guys have put together to put these people together. It's, like you say, a 3-day affair. We're looking at 13, 14, 15 of November, which is going to be happening at World Trade Center. Shamin, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I'm sure you guys did a lot of work to put this together.
But coming from the land where everyone is a speaker today, so I think we've lined up a couple of very interesting things. So talking about the theme itself, it's humanity amplified in the age of AI. Why this is important? Because I think the PR industry as a whole feel that this one foreign element that has come over and taken over a lot of things from our lives to our work to school and things like that. So we wanted to embrace it. So we want to tell all practitioners from all walks of life, it can be a boutique agency, it can be a corporate comms person, that they are not the enemy, AI is not the enemy. We want to embrace them. So let's see how we can work together, embrace it and use it to our advantage. So that is why we called it Humanity in the Age of Amplified AI. So we want to kind of bring the attention back to basics, being human. So those are the things that actually we were trying to achieve, that telling people, don't be scared. We're still us. We are still practitioners. We are still needed. We are still very relevant in the industry.
Yeah, and I mean, with all things, when technology comes, right, there needs to be adaptation, growing with it, not challenging it specifically, but see how we can modify and adapt to improve for the evolution, right? Yeah. And I love this theme, we're calling Humanity Amplified in the Age of Intelligence. And it's really important to be able to bring back and bring forth our humanity in all things, and also to sort of like put the emphasis on the intelligence in our intelligence, not just an artificial intelligence, but using our collective sort of knowledge and share that experience with all of us. And I want to touch about how will this conference differ from other communication-focused events we've seen before. Perhaps you could start with you, Syed, and then Shamin, you can.
Yeah, sure. So I got to give kudos to Shamin. She was the curator, the content developer, and if you can see what Shamin has said, right, about humanity, you look at the plethora of speakers. They're humans. They're not robots, right? But apart from these individuals, these intellects of PR sharing knowledge, there's another component that I think I'll let Shamin blow the mind away.
Okay, so basically how different we are. I think usually conferences are all about talks and panel discussion and stuff like that. So we wanted to bring an element of workshops, so we're calling it masterclasses, by 4 phenomenal coaches that are going to come on board, and they're going to do this program over 3 days. So it's going to cover a lot of verbal and non-verbal mastery. So a lot of people think communication means verbal. We are actually speaking and listening through our body as well. So we want to showcase that to everyone. So we will be covering visual intelligence, we will be covering authenticity and clarity of vocal and verbal communication. We got embodiment, which a lot of us forget how to embody when we speak, and then the storytelling part, because the storytelling essentially is the essence of communication, right? Which I think we've long forgotten with AI and other intelligence that have come in. So that is what we're going to be focusing on.
It sounds very exciting.
And that's why when Shamin produced this masterclass, most conferences will have breakout sessions. And we realize breakout sessions can be very boring because you just box everyone in. What Shamin has designed is that the whole 800 people who attend this, they have the options to choose over the 3 days. The master classes, and they can actually overlap day 2 and day 1, and they will get the full breadth and depth of learning. So that's what we want.
I think this sounds like a really interesting sort of conference and learning experience. It's not just a conference. I think a lot of times conference sound like a one-way street, right? It's like down, like, you know, I'm telling you
Very
what you should, you should do, kind of thing. But I feel learning, it's a two-way street. You need to be able to give and receive and also share in order for that sort of like knowledge base to grow even more. And I love that you guys have explored these kind of platforms for this to actually thrive. Now, if I may jump into the role of PR and strategic communication on this topic itself, right? When we talk about strategic communication, it can get lost in a sort of like a vague sort of like big description. Strategic communication, what is it really? It can sound very abstract to a lot of people. In your view, what does it really mean, especially for a country like Malaysia?
Yeah, so it's basically a country like Malaysia, right? So we kind of speak to very different spurs of people, different kind of communities.
Different languages, different tone of manner, everything changes.
Yeah, because culturally we also think very differently, we communicate very differently, right? So the essence of it is to align the Malaysian identity, talk about one story, one Malaysia story across the board, like whether you're from a public sector, from a media sector, from the business sector. So we have that identity. So I would feel that it's branding as a nation today. So that's what we are going out with, and that will be strategic communication for us.
And I think, if I don't mind, a lot of people hear the word strategy and they fall flat. You know? But strategy, if you break it down, is actually a plan, right? What do you want your end goal to be? And in reaching that end goal, what are the components that we need, right? And that will build up the tactics. So in terms of strategic comms, is how do we want to get the message there in the best possible, shortest, most effective manner?
Correct. And by understanding the people that you're speaking to, by understanding the tools that you have at your disposal, all that becomes a more, I don't know, a detailed task that effectively achieves that end solution and achievement.
Precisely.
Now, we often speak about trust and credibility in communication. How important are these values when building both national and corporate reputation? And how do you even establish trust and credibility? That's, I think, the main question.
Yeah, that would be our main challenge, right? So a lot of a lot of people are talking, and are they talking their walk? So that is always the problem. So to me, I think trust is very important. The very essence of trust is its influence. How much of influence you have over people, and what kind of connection, what kind of message are you putting through? Sometimes a lot of leaders, a lot of key communicators that we look up to don't fulfill that criteria because it's to do with authenticity, it's to do with credibility. So all this comes with influence and the connections that we are making every day. So if we are addressing a particular issue, how are we connecting? How are we speaking? So all that that is the main essence that I think that has to be there.
I feel that consistency is important. You must you always hold your character with consistency. And that's how you create that trust and credibility. If you are sort of prodded and you shake and then you change your stance, that's the one that, I mean, all Malaysians know this word like lalang, right? So you don't want to be a lalang, right? And that's where I think you wanted to mention.
As I think we were discussing just now, and I think you ladies brought up authenticity. And I think leadership today, to be authentic, is when the trust is built with the followers, right? And I always tell this to the younglings in PR, right? If you want to be a hit with your target audience, you need to have honesty, integrity, and trustworthiness or transparency. So whatever we craft and whatever we design in our campaign, people must know that it's not BS, right?
No, absolutely. And when you mention all that, you know, trust and credibility, honesty and transparency, all that comes from the authenticity of, like, even if you're making a mistake, admit that you're making a mistake. And that builds, and that I can trust that you have recognized, acknowledged, and we can move on from there.
So I think that is how credibility is built, but also, you know, anyone can come up and speak a script, right? So I also feel that embodiment of that whole trustworthiness is very important, because people are watching you on screen, they're watching how you're reacting, how your body is reacting, and whatnot. So
and we can tell, you know, you don't have to go to school to learn. You energetically understand when somebody is communicating something that you resonate with. Now, I'll talk about social media. It has changed the ballgame for a lot of things, right? The communication landscape is far different because now we have social media. How can PR professionals adapt to ensure that Malaysia's story is told authentically, not just virally? Because all we want to do is like million views.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we've come up to this stage where we look at the different platforms, and as you said, we're all energy, right? Those platforms like Facebook, Instagram, X, all those, they create the energy. Just one quick example, when in the highway, right? I'm in the highway line. Whatever we post on Facebook tends to get a lot of negative backlash. Whatever we post, the same thing on LinkedIn gets very positive response.
That's so peculiar.
So why? Because people don't want to say bad things on LinkedIn because they want to look professional and get hired. Whereas on Facebook, it's like, it's open
My
season.
personal expression.
So for the practitioner, they need to understand the platform, as we said, the languages, the culture and all that, and how to curate those messages that will push the hot buttons.
I really love that you brought that up. That it's like a social experiment that you get to see immediately, right? You know, what happens here, it's the same messaging, but how is it that the reaction is so different? And this applies to everything. You can say the same thing to one person and it might be like, oh my God, you're amazing. And the next person is like, oh my God, they have a completely different reaction. Because understanding that target audience and the way and what you use in terms of the communication is going to be important. I think you want to jump in here.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's also about this whole virality scheme that's going on, right? We won the 100 million. It's all about attention, it's grabbing attention. But how do we shift from attention to intentions? So is your intention? So social media is actually very great. It's mainly to connect to people. So are we really connecting to people from the grassroots? Are we looking at talking about the unsung heroes, stories of unsung heroes? Are we looking at connecting to communities? So we're not really there yet, but I think it can shift. That requires a lot of education and awareness.
I'm glad you brought this up because I've been having this conversation in the last few sort of like sessions with other guests as well. We're talking about us being in an attention economy. So the attention economy is how can you grab that attention the most, and then the value of the dollars get attached to that attention as opposed to what the intention is that you mentioned, the message and the value that you want to offer and bring forth. So this is sort of like the psychological perspective of how we are using marketing and how we are using this to be able to build us as a nation. And it affects us in our psyche, right? In our holistic ways. So perhaps I would like to then put forth this question. What role do you see PR playing in strengthening unity and positive narratives about Malaysia, both at home and abroad? Because, you know, like you said, everybody's an influencer.
Everyone's a speaker, right? So I think we see ourselves, practitioners, especially PR practitioners, we hold a very unique space in this industry, right? And we cut across all industries. You need a PR, you need a communicator throughout different industries. So I think I see ourselves being a moderator more than anything, and we are doing that bridge between the mass public and the key communicators, the leaders, because we are the ones who are going to be forming the narrative in a proper way where we know the mass public will be able to accept what we are saying, and if this is going to impact, so we are doing our risk analysis. So you need that layer. So I would say a moderator, whether we are at home or we are abroad, we are always going to be playing that key role.
Yeah, and on top of that, a counselor to leaders, right, so that they know when to speak, what to speak in the right manner, because we're all human beings and certain things tend to trigger certainly, but if you have a counselor whispering next to you what you should say, right, and the press will be happy.
It's like what they call conciliary.
Yes, correct.
And a mediator, right?
Yes.
So even showing up, right, when the leaders are showing up, sometimes they need to show up at a certain scenario. You need to embody a certain emotion. So even that needs to be coached, because a lot of them don't have it. It doesn't come as second nature.
No, and it's also important to have, it may not be that they are not naturally as such, but when you're in the heat of the moment, when you're in an emotionally charged environment, you need some sort of like party to help sort of calm you down, refocus, so that you are able to then perform as necessary.
So we have the role of a diplomat too.
Yes, there you go. It's like judge and adjudicators, right? So that the mediators have a role to play. Like, why do we even need judges? What can't we resolve our own issues?
True.
We can, but we always have emotions that come into play that require sort of like maybe a third eye that's not emotionally involved that can see it clearer.
Yeah, Elane, you'll be very surprised. We are sometimes even advising people what to wear to a certain.
I'm sure. And which is what this next question. Are there examples of where poor communication, not just verbal, has cost countries and organizations credibility? And what can Malaysia learn from that? And what can the general public actually learn from that as well?
Well, actually, if you were to see poor communication, we've got lots of it, because, we don't want to drop names, but, if you were to look at a very global level, we have a lot of trolls. We have a lot of memes, right? Some leader has to say something and that becomes the entire narrative for the week. That's all we are talking about. So that is what the reputation they're going to live up to, even after they were to leave that particular position. That's always going to be there. So that is
this a problem of not being able to hold their tongues?
Well, that's why they need counselors like PR and not AI to guide them. And I think one of the key things is if you look at on a given scenario, right, for a situation where leaders are guided by, I would say, not so much a script, but from their authentic heart, they need to have that open conversation with the counselor. Yeah. Right? We are only as good as our client or as our CEO allows us to be.
Agree.
If our CEO enables us that open conversation and we know what keeps them awake at night, it's easier for us to put our perspective in, and that gives them another layer of steering that they can come up and face the public.
I always believe that everything that happens in an organization starts from the top, because how you lead by example. You don't have to be necessarily the best speaker, but you need to have that sort of authentic vision and drive that everybody can get aligned to.
Yes.
And let's talk about Malaysia's global positioning. I want to be able to at least cover some of this before we leave today. Malaysia is stepping well, not it's just stepping, but Malaysia has stepped onto the world stage. We are the chairman of ASEAN this year in 2025. Next year is Visit Malaysia 2026. And what kind of image, if you would have to contribute, should we project internationally? And what are kind of narratives you would like to put out there?
You want to give it a go?
Yeah, of course. Well, firstly, I would say a unified team. Definitely, because diversity is our strength. So that is where we're going to showcase, what we have at the public forum. We are hoping to bring that also a lot of showcase of talents that we're having. So I think besides that, maybe
I think we should bring back the Malaysia of old, the P. Ramlee days.
A lot of people may not know what it is, right?
The P. Ramlee days where we don't see each other as race or religion.
I absolutely love that.
Where we see each other as a fellow kawan.
Yeah.
Right? And everything that we do or espouse has that unity that makes other countries look at us and, hey, these guys look different, sound different, eat different, do things different, but they're one heart. And they love each other authentically and honestly. I think if we can bring that back, I think that will be one of, we could call it mesmerizing Malaysia.
I think we need to be able to leave the segregation aside, the divisiveness, leave it aside, because as we come together, and everybody talks about this, our mama store conversations are always amazing, right? Because all of us can overcome all that, whatever differences that we have, but suddenly on a sort of like a spotlighted level, everybody has a different sort of like look and feel and narrative. So it's time that we go down to our mama store conversations
and celebrate
be our unified self. Now, looking ahead, the Global Public Relations Conference and Festival 2025 will gather, as we've seen, experts from around the globe. What can participants expect, and how will this event empower local PR talents? And I'm sure that's part of your goal, to be able to empower the community.
It's not what the participants can expect, it's what we really want to give them. We really want to give them the knowledge that is so profound and they're so pragmatic that when they go back, they can apply it in their work life, in their personal life. Because a lot of us think PR is just work. But to me, public relations and personal relationship, both words starts with PR, right? If you can't have a safe haven at home, you're not going to work well in the professionals level, right? So we also want all of the participants to have this icebreaker, because they're going to be international and local students. They're going to be international professionals and local professionals. But in this whole arena, they're equals. So they get to mingle, they get to network, and they get to build relationships that will be future-proof. And that's what we hope to give them.
Yeah, on top of it, I'd just like to add that it's going to give you a very experiential experience, right? It's going to be very immersive. And I feel everybody walks away after the 3 days. They're going to take something away for them that they can use it as a tool on their everyday, because we're teaching them how to cope with this very high stress environment. Because believe it or not, as PR people, we do get calls at night, saying that we have something good, we have a crisis, how do we deal with it? We are also human beings, so it has to take a minute for us to get there, gather our thoughts. And we don't know, almost every time we're taking a bet, are we saying the right things? Is what I'm going to say going to have a backlash? So we're always, second guessing ourselves as well. So we don't have a Bible that we refer to. It is our very apt experience that we have, that we dig into, and that moment.
And I think because that is sort of like always at the forefront, and that's why I feel that you talk about the humanity and the authenticity that sort of guides the way forward. Because you know what's true, and you want for the greater good. And when you have people's sort of like interest in mind, the outcome, it's easier to manage that way.
Correct.
And as you bring together these experts from around the world, what are the key takeaways you want Malaysians and the international community to leave with after this event? If there's that one thing, what would it be?
I think that this is going to be the PR Davos for Malaysia.
I love it. PR Davos. Shamin?
Well, if you're talking about taking away, we're going to show them how unique we are, because if you're going to get into a Grab, oh boy, the conversations that we have from Grab drivers, right? It's amazing how great they are as communicators. So we want to tell everyone, hey, we are good. We're a very fragmented fraternity, so we want to bring everyone back into that whole space and we want to showcase and say, we can speak. Are we speaking with intent? Are we speaking structuredly? Are we a nation where we say we are callous with our words? So we have a lot to show, not only to our people from our home, but also abroad, that this is how we do things here. And maybe we can learn from you, and you can learn from us. And
this is all about, the relationship of learning from each other.
Correct.
It actually makes everything so much more beautiful. Now, I know I talked about that one key message. What do you think you want young communicators to understand from this? What about their role in shaping the global image? What would be? Because young communicators, that's the future, right?
Yep.
Well, in terms of young people, what we're trying to tell them, especially in the age of intelligence, I would say, is are you being responsible when you speak? So that is so important, right? People go online, they say all kinds of things. We've got a lot of keyboard warriors today. They hide behind keyboards and say whatever they want. So we don't want that. We want to make sure there's a lot of awareness and education in empathy. You need to have empathy. That is the most important thing. That's what we want them to embody and take away, right? So we want to tell our young practitioners, speak responsibly, take accountability for what you say, and what you say has repercussions. It can cause a lot of damage if you're not going to structure it properly and take care of it.
Well said, Syed.
And what we really want the young practitioners to feel is, you have a home, you have your abang, you have your kakak in PR, things that you're not clear about as you progress in your career, come back and ask us.
Reach out.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you so much. I wanted to echo what you just said. Like I always used to tell people, if you cannot say something in front of a person, don't say something behind them.
True.
No, because it's essentially take responsibility for the words and receive the consequences of that.
Yes.
So you want to give something good so that you can receive that back as well. Thank you so much both for sharing your thoughts, and all the best for the conference on the 13th
Thank
to
you so
15th
much.
of November.
very much,
That's
Elane.
happening at World Trade Center. And that wraps up our discussion for today. As we've seen, strategic communication plays a crucial role in shaping Malaysia's image on the global stage. This influences how our nation is perceived and how we connect with the world and one another. Keep following these developments, especially with the Global Public Relations Conference and Festival happening this week, to see how ideas, innovation and collaboration continue to put Malaysia on the international map. I'm Elane Noor. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow us for more in-depth conversations and issues that matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For now.